Good day, everyone, or as we in Group 5 like to call it, good day, and welcome to the hour where we attempt to defy all previous deadlines. A very special good day to our esteemed professor, Dr. Lilibeth Matura, and good day, dear classmates and fellow educators. Get ready because for the next several minutes, you are getting the full Group 5 experience. Think of it as a scholarly, slightly caffeinated roller coaster ride. Today, we are thrilled, and by thrilled, I mean we survived on sheer willpower and a questionable amount of instant coffee to present output number 5, our highly anticipated milestone 2. And for those of you wondering how we managed to pull this off, let me introduce the dream team, the reason I haven't spontaneously combusted from stress. Here's the dream team. Well, once again, my name is Christian Tangonan, and you already know me, the designated member to make you get all the information about our second output. Let me introduce the others. Our dream team is headed by ever-ready Sarah Joy Valenciano and our brilliant assistant leader, Marjorie Soriano. So how about a virtual heart for them? Thank you. And now the powerhouse member of Group 5. These are the individuals who turn chaos into coherent presentation. So now let's give a big virtual round of applause for Charissa Sembrano, May Rose Laarni Sobrevega, Leah Sor, Ralph Sidon Soriaga, Marilu Valdez, Maria Lourdes Valencia, and Maria Evelyn Rosario Yasonia. You guys are the glue, or maybe the duct tape. Of course, that is in a good sense. So you hold us together. So without further ado, let's dive into milestone 2, where we prove that deadlines are just suggestions and that collaborative learning is absolutely the best way to get things done. So brace yourself. To kick things off, we need to understand why curriculum implementation is so often messy. Our opening section will introduce systems thinking, not just a buzzword, but a powerful lens for viewing the school environment. This approach helps us see beyond individual problems to the interconnected web of policies, people, and processes. This section is prepared by Marjorie Soriano and Ralph Sidon Soriaga. Today, we're putting on our systems thinking glasses to examine a challenge many of us face: the implementation of the senior high school subject, empowerment technologies, or just e-tech. Now, on paper, e-tech is a superstar. It's designed to transform our students into digital citizens and tech-savvy professionals, ready for anything. It's supposed to be a dynamic system, a perfect machine of inputs, processes, outputs, and feedback loops that all work together. But there is a big but. The reality is often a bit more like that the time you try to assemble a furniture or a toy with missing instructions. We have this well-intentioned design, but a gap persists between what the curriculum expects and what the classroom can actually deliver. Students are expected to build multimedia masterpieces and collaborate online, but the support system, things like equitable access, consistent teacher training, and fair assessment are sometimes missing in action. It's like telling someone to run a marathon but forgetting to give them shoes. Disappointing, right? And unexpected and unfair. Well, isn't one school's problem. No, this is not just one school problem. It's a systemic one. E-tech lives in a wonderfully diverse environment, but that diversity means access to digital tools, teacher skills, and learner resources vary widely. And let's be honest, the curriculum relies on a whole digital toolbox like Canva, GIMP, Wix, Google Suite. But without the proper infrastructure and training, the lesson can become tool dependent instead of concept driven. The tool becomes the focus, not the learning. Uh-huh. So this challenge involves a whole cast of characters, and everyone plays a critical role. Think of it as a play where no one has the script fully yet. So let's have those involved people, that the key stakeholders, in other words. First, the students, the beneficiaries. They're the primary reason why we're all here, right? Why we're all teachers. But they're often limited by the basics, device and internet access at home. Second, the teachers, our heroes on the front lines. They implement, assess, and integrate technology, all while juggling massive workloads and often needing more targeted training. We are asking them to be both a teacher and an IT expert, like two in one, or maybe three in one sometimes. Then school leaders and ICT coordinators. They are the infrastructure and policy architects, managing the budget and professional development. They hold the keys to the digital kingdom. And of course, the parents, guardians, they're the vital support at home, providing supervision and the actual digital access needed for homework. Finally, the curriculum and assessment authorities. They set the standards and ensure alignment. Their job is to keep the entire e-tech train on the rails and make sure everyone is headed to the same destination. So, what's the big takeaway? The e-tech challenge isn't just about a lack of computers. It's about a systemic disconnect, a gap between the high-tech expectations and the varied support structures. We need to stop reviewing curriculum implementation as a simple checklist and start seeing it as an interdependent system that needs all its parts working in harmony. Let's move on to the next section where we'll delve into the specific feedback loops that are either hindering or helping the system. We have here the ETEC system diagnosis. Let's dive deeper into this machine. Through a system lens, we break the challenge down into four key phases: inputs, processes, outputs, and feedback loops. First, the inputs. These are the foundations. We're talking curriculum standards, teachers' expertise, ICT infrastructure, and learner readiness. The challenge, uneven digital literacy among teachers. That's so sad, right? Unstable connectivity, sadder. And wide learning gaps among students. That's the saddest part. Our biggest leverage point here is simple: prioritize teacher ICT training and conduct quick baseline digital checks for students. We need to ensure equitable readiness before the first lesson even starts. Next, the processes. This is where the teaching happens. We're aiming for authentic instructional design, PBL, collaboration, and using tools like Canva and Google Drive. But the reality is often tool overload and the lessons that are too focused on the activity rather than the concept. The, the leverage point to fix this: establish teacher learning communities, the TLCs, tender loving cares. Let's get teachers planning collaboratively, sharing best practices, and calibrating rubrics together. We need a shared map, not 50 individual explorations. Okay, moving to outputs. This is the evidence of learning. We expect deep reflection papers and track-based digital portfolios. But what do we often get? Superficial insights and projects focus on social media aesthetics over academic depth. That sounds sad. And to improve this, our leverage point is to enhance reflection scaffolds and create continuity. Link quarter one's technical skills directly to quarter two's civic advocacy projects. Let's make the skills meaningful. Finally, the feedback loops. The engine for continuous improvement, we have great mechanisms, students' journals, peer assessments, and rubrics, but often they are ignored, unclear, and too product focused. The car has a great dashboard, but no one is looking at it, right? It's being ignored. The best leverage point here is use that data. Make students and teacher reflections mandatory diagnostic tools to redesign the next lesson. Close the loop and make improvements cyclical and data-driven. So the conclusion here is clear. The challenges, uneven training, assessment consistency are interconnected issues within the ecosystem. The solution is not one single fix, but a system-based intervention that hits multiple levels at once. Continuous PD for teachers, baseline tests for students, limited tools per quarter, and a strong ICT learning hubs. Only by strengthening all these interconnected parts, aligning inputs, refining processes, harmonizing the outputs, and sustaining the feedback can we reach that goal. 95% of students use ICT tools effectively with greater consistency in grading and submission, just like that ice cream seller. Okay, the path to equilibrium. So let's have a balance. So what does the success look like? We want more than just participation, right? We want 95% of students using tools effectively, teachers gaining certified competency, and a dramatic increase in grading consistency. This isn't about isolated wins. It's about the whole system operating in harmony. By the way, the design that I put it there, it's not a parole. It's actually signifying that the center is connected to the outside. Well, it's not for Christmas. It's just to emphasize my point here. Okay, we know how the e-tech challenge digital inequality and uneven readiness. It's not a fatal flaw, but an interconnected system like this one. They need balance. They need strength because by strengthening one component like teacher competence, we automatically lift others, creating real sustainability. For the curriculum to reach its potential, all stakeholders must act systemically. Am I right? Systemically. Align the inputs, refine the processes, harmonize the outputs, and sustain the feedback mechanisms. This is the key to creating inclusive, meaningful, and future-ready ICT education. But none of this works without communication. Our strategy must be direct, clear, and flexible. It can be cast in stone. Why? Because our primary stakeholders, the students and teachers, require equity, diversity, and inclusivity in how they receive information, right? We have our own way of learning. So we must define the segment. Parents need different information than principals. We must use appropriate delivery, no oversimplification. We must ensure credibility through transparency. And most importantly, we must promote a reciprocal exchange. We listen as much as we speak. So, by mastering the system and mastering our message, we turn this challenge into our greatest opportunity. Now that we've used systems thinking to analyze the complexity of our challenge, we need a plan to move the system. Oh, I think my presentation is quite light. So once again, let's turn the challenge into opportunity. Master the system, master the message, then we transform the ETIC challenge into our greatest opportunity. I just want to reiterate that, so I repeated it. Now that we've used system thinking to analyze the complexity of our challenge, we need a plan to actually move the system. The plan starts and ends with effective communication. Our next crucial segment is all about reaching every person involved. And this section, expertly prepared by Leah Sor and Maria Evelyn Rosario Sonia. This focuses on designing effective communication strategies for diverse stakeholders. Our curriculum plan, our milestone one, is more than just lessons. It's a model for success. And the core lesson is about communication. We can apply these learning strategies to all stakeholders. Definitely, as educators, as teachers of any institutions, you already know who the stakeholders are. First, tailor the message. Just as students learn to choose the right online platform for a class objective, we must choose the right channel for our audience. And the action you can take here is email, Google Classroom, verbal announcement. Pick the one that ensures retention. Second, emphasize netiquette in communication. Online accountability isn't always innate. So your action here is use your school handbook to highlight ethical use of online apps. Make it a collaborative discussion, not just a lesson. And third, communicate with credibility and evidence. Our plan teaches the famous CRAAP test for research, or the CRAP test for research. The action here provide learners with materials that show how their own work defines their credibility as digital citizens. And finally, foster active two-way engagement. The system needs dialogue, not just broadcast. The action, you create avenues like small group discussions where everyone has a higher opportunity to share their point of view. So listen and speak. By using curriculum itself as a framework for communications, we ensure our systemic changes are understood and sustained. Moving on to the collaboration blueprint. Collaboration isn't just a bonus, it's the system. By embedding communication into our lesson, we transform instruction into a shared process of learning and leadership. Look at this blueprint. We're using Padlet and peer reviews to build student accountability and teamwork. We're using Google Workspace for teacher co-planning to boost instructional consistency. We inform administrators with data dashboards to drive better decisions. We involve parents through webinars to strengthen this homeschool partnership. And we invite community partners for joint project evaluation, linking learning to the real world. Every single stakeholders from student to CEO contributes to our success. When we communicate strategically, we ensure that every action fosters a culture of shared responsibility and innovation. That's how we achieve our curriculum's full potential. Let's now move to the pillars of ICT success. Now that we've diagnosed the e-tech system, and now we know the solution isn't about more tech, it's better collaboration, smarter engagement, and crystal clear communication. Okay, so here are some of the here are some ways or strategies for the ICT success. The first one, the pillar one, collaborative lesson design. ICT isn't a solo sport. We need to co-planning sessions with subject heads and coordinators using shared Google folders to align everything with the depth ed standards. The impact? Shared accountability and rock solid instructional consistency. The next pillar, transparency with students. They need to know the why and the how. Use interactive platforms like Padlet and Mentimeter. But most importantly, clarify those learning targets and rubrics early because the impact is building digital citizenship and real collaboration skills. And for the next pillar, partner with school leaders. No more hiding in the back room. Present your progress with digital dashboards, showcase student output, and ask administrators for feedback. The impact? You get leadership support and drive decisions based on real data. Pillar 4, the next strategy, family and community engagement. Learning doesn't stop at the classroom door. Host parent webinars on safety and work with industry partners on authentic projects. Well, the impact of this is a strong three-way partnership that applies ICT learning to the real world. And finally, the last pillar, continuous professional collaboration. Teachers are leaders, right? Agree with me? Establish those PLCs, use peer mentoring, and share innovations. The impact, you sustain leadership, professional growth, and keep the ICT system humming. By implementing these 5 strategies, we don't just teach ICT, we build a resilient, communicative, and effective educational ecosystem. So if you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you so much. Let's now move on to the next part. Now that we've analyzed and designed our communications, but true sustainable change requires more than just telling people what to do. It requires shared ownership. Our next section tackles this vital component, developing collaborative approaches to promote buy-in and shared ownership. Prepared by Marilu Valdez and Maria Lourdes Valencia, this segment will move us beyond simple consultation to genuine partnership. And this section presents strategies for building structures and processes that not only get stakeholders to agree to the change, the buy-in, but also empower them to feel like they are co-creators and the leaders of the new curriculum. Shared ownership, right? Shared ownership. This is how we ensure the change lasts. So now we have diagnosed the system. Now, after the diagnosis, what do you think is the next step? Cure, right? To make the e-tech curriculum thrive, we need to buy in, not just compliance. Everyone involved from students to partners need a voice and shared ownership of the success. It all starts with participatory curriculum design. Let's get teachers from academic arts and tech work together to review, adjust, and align lessons based on a real student needs. Think of it as a curriculum jam session. This happened best in professional learning communities or the PLCs. I think some of you are already familiar with this. By involving learners in designing activities and using simple peer assessments and reflection journals, we build their accountability and engagement. Um, their insights keep our lessons practical and relevant. And let's not forget shared leadership. Assigning team leads and celebrating collective efforts during assemblies builds immense pride and makes sure decisions are shared, not shouted. Finally, connect the classroom to the world. Industry partnerships and community linkages ensure projects address real world issues. And thanks to tools like Google Workspace and Padlet, digital collaboration makes planning and documentation seamless and transparent. Participatory planning, PLCs, students' voice, and reflection, these build a culture of trust and shared ownership. The result, do you know what the result is? Well, it's in the presentation. The ICT curriculum doesn't get implemented, it absolutely thrives. So, for any change to truly stick and become a natural part of the school environment, the people executing it need the right support and skills. This brings us to the topic of sustaining our efforts long term. Our next section is dedicated to creating professional development plans to support sustainable change. It's prepared by Charissa Sembrano and May Rose Laarni Sobre Vega. This section outlines strategies that move beyond a single training day. This segment focuses on designing continuous integrated learning opportunities that empower educators, build capacity, and ensure that the positive changes we implement are not just temporary, but truly woven into the fabric of institution for years to come. There you go. Our curriculum changes, and so must we, right? There's nothing constant in our lives but change. So you change, curriculum changes. So this professional development plan is designed to help our ICT educators grow continuously, ensuring teaching practices evolve alongside our students' digital needs. It's a 5-step power up. So you can see there in the step 1, start with the why. Reflect on your strengths and gaps with tools like Canva and Google Workspace. Identify what needs strengthening to align with your long-term growth vision. Step 2 and 3. Set SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, and all that. Then step 3, develop the action plan, of course. It's quite important. Join PLCs, collaborate on resources, and get a mentor. Collaboration makes the workload manageable. Step 4, the do. Form a professional learning community that meets monthly to troubleshoot and share the best practices. Apply those new skills and get feedback. Lastly, the monitor, reflect, and revise, or the sustain button. Monitor progress, reflect on successes, and adjust your strategies every quarter. Reflection is not just paperwork, right? Do you agree? It's how we stay dynamic and responsive to our learners, right? Because it's a deliberation, it's a review of those things that you need to improve. So this plan fosters reflection, collaboration, and innovation, ensuring our ICT curriculum doesn't just survive, it thrives. And speaking of collaboration, once again, it's not just a buzzword, it's the engine that makes the ICT curriculum go. We're building shared ownership among teachers and students to make learning meaningful and, dare I say it, fun. How do we do it? First, you co design. Students use Padlet and Forms to design project themes. When they help create the work, they own the work. We then use peer mentoring like the jigsaw method, where everyone teaches a piece of the puzzle, building them accountability or building team accountability. Next, teacher teamwork. Regular PLC meetings. I have mentioned PLC a lot of times, so I hope that most of you are undergoing PLC meetings. They are vital for sharing best practices and keeping rubrics consistent. Then we boost pride with shared digital portfolios on Google Sites or Wix. It's the class digital trophy case, right? So we're also pulling back the curtain on grading. Collaborative rubric building means students help define quality work, leading to more transparent assessment. After a project, reflective peer and self assessment encourages honesty and continuous improvement. It's how we learn to be better teammates. And I forgot to share the others. There you go. So here are the step 3, teacher teamwork, strategy 4, share digital portfolios, and moving on to strategy 5, strategy 6 and 7, community showcases. Go public, in other words. So this gives students an authentic audience and prove their work matters beyond the classroom. And we close the loop with a continuous feedback cycle using quick surveys. We show students their voice is heard, which builds immense trust. And by involving everyone in the planning, assessment, and reflection, we create a supportive environment where the ICT curriculum doesn't just get implemented, it becomes a shared success story. Now that we covered the positive steps we need to take, but true change leadership means being prepared for the inevitable challenges, just like the inevitable sounds of dogs barking outside my house. In any large scale implementation, there will be roadblocks, from resistance to lack of resources. This next highly practical section is anticipating and addressing barriers to curriculum implementation. I hope that the barking of dogs is not a barrier this time. Prepared by Sarah Joy Valenciano, this segment provides the critical action plan for when things don't go smoothly. We will move beyond simply identifying problems and focus on concrete, proactive strategies to anticipate common hurdles and implement effective, evidence based solutions that keep our momentum moving forward. All right, let's talk reality checks. We have a great curriculum, right? But every hero needs a few boss battles. We're going to anticipate and address the barriers that pop up when implementing the ICT curriculum, especially when linking it to the global professional world. On first set of limitations are big ones. Barrier number one, we sometimes focus so hard on the tech that we forget that the human. There is an adequate focus on essential soft skills like verbal communication, teamwork, and my personal favorite, conflict resolution. You can't debug a colleague with a coding snippet. Barrier number two is the speed of light. ICT changes so fast that we're constantly trying to update our tools and platforms. It's a race against obsolescence for both teachers and students. What you know now will not be relevant to the future, right? It's so fast. And barrier number three is the one size fits all trap, right? Like the cookie, yeah, what do you call this? The cookie shaper, same kind of idea. And an overly generalized curriculum doesn't serve anyone well. The ICT needed for global negotiations in business is totally different from the precise documentation needed in a technical field. We need specialized tracks to meet a specific professional demands. Now, let's look at the in-class friction points, the weekly hiccups that frustrate us all. The reflection hurdle. In those first 2 weeks, we asked for a insightful reflection paper. But let's be honest, 2 weeks is not enough. It's not enough time for a brief summary, not deep analysis. It's like asking a chef to judge a 5-course meal after the first bite. We need to give synthesis time to brew. The quality versus speed challenge, the weeks 3 and 4. When deadlines loom, the focus shifts to speed over quality. Creating genuinely useful content takes time and knowledge of the track's specifics. If we rush, we risk submitting low quality output, right? Rush projects don't have quality in it. That's why I hate rush projects. So, time's constraint is the enemy of creative excellence. The independent application dilemma. Finally, the independent project. If we don't allow for collaboration, we restrict creative diversity and interaction. Plus, complex design creation requires mastery with limited time. Students often stick to the convenient basic techniques, capping their skill level at low to moderate. We're accidentally limiting the wow factor, right? So we have to always make sure that they're always giving the wow factor. Ultimately, overcoming these barriers requires our teachers to be proficient, not just in the plan, but in the application. By anticipating these limitations and ensuring our teachers have the skills and our students have the time and support, we can ensure those exceptional outcomes are achieved. Do you agree? All right. Okay, let's move to the next one. So now we have discussed the what and the how for implementation. But to truly lead this effort, we need a robust theoretical foundation. That this final section connects all our practical strategies back to established best practices, right? It is titled Applied Change Management Theories to Practical Educational Context. It is prepared by Christian Tangonan, the Blessed One. Yes, I am required to say that, whether you like it or not. This segment serves as our capstone. This will guide us through essential change management models like ADKAR model and Lewin 3 steps model and show us exactly how these established widely used frameworks inform and strengthen every decision we make in curriculum reform. This ensures our approach is not just based on intuition but on proven success. Okay, we've talked about the challenge, but now let's talk about the solution. For making change actually stick. Our new ICT curriculum is heavy on innovation. Things like Web 3.0 tools, Canva, and project-based learning. That's fantastic. But implementing it successfully is less about technology and more about people, right? Because it should be about people. You see, we can throw all the cool new software at at our teachers, and if they are not ready to embrace it, it just ends up collecting digital dust. That's where ADKAR comes in. It's our secret weapon for guiding individual teacher adoption. Well, ADKAR is an acronym and it lays out the 5 sequential steps an individual must achieve for any change to truly succeed. We can think of it as a personalized checklist for teacher transformation. First up, the A. A stands for awareness. This is all about the why. Our teachers need to understand why the current curriculum is inadequate or why it needs to this high-tech update. If they don't see the problem, they won't buy the solution, right? It's like trying to convince someone to trade in a perfectly good phone. Ugh, that's ridiculous. They have to see the need for the upgrade first, right? Next is the D for desire. This is the want. We need to move faculty from simply knowing about the change to actually wanting to participate. We're not dragging them, we're inspiring them. This is where we highlight the benefits. Most teachers would love to hear the word benefits. Easier grading, more engaged students, and yes, mastery of cool new tools. Then the K for knowledge, this is the how. We can just hand them on GIMP manual and walk away, right? What we must provide targeted training on the new curriculum, content, teaching strategies, and crucially, how to actually use those new ICT tools effectively. Following that is the second A for ability. This is the do. Knowledge is great, but ability is about translating theory into practice, right? That's very crucial. It means teachers are actively and effectively using the new curriculum in the classroom. This is where the training wheels come off and the real world application begins. And finally, the R. The R for reinforcement. This is the sustain. Change management fails without reinforcement. We need reinforcement. We need ongoing coaching, peer recognition, and measurable metrics that show the change is actually working and making their lives better. This is how we prevent our teachers from sliding back to the familiar, less effective old ways. So the ADKAR model is our roadmap. By focusing on each individual teacher's journey through awareness, once again, the desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. We ensure that the complex ICT curriculum doesn't just get implemented. It becomes a sustainable, successful, and accepted part of our teaching culture. And lastly, now that we just looked at ADKAR for guiding our individual teachers, now let's zoom out and look at the structure for the entire system using the classic three-step change model from the legendary Kurt Lewin. Unfreeze, change, refreeze. So for step one, unfreeze, this is the crucial prep work. It's like clearing out your old dusty fridge before a big grocery run. The purpose here is to shake things up and make sure everyone knows that change is necessary, right? So our actions are to gently disrupt those old habits, analyze what is not working with the current curriculum, and clearly communicate the benefits of the new ICT plan. We have to show them that a better digital future is waiting. Step two, change. Yes, it's a that's a big move. This is where we implement the new curriculum and all the cool teaching methods like flipped classroom and project-based learning. The purpose of this is to actively introduce those new ways of working. Our actions must include providing robust training and support for our educators and encouraging collaboration among teachers and students. We're all in this transition together. No one gets left behind with the broken GIMP file. And the last one, refreeze. Put in the fridge again. This is the most important step for sustainability. It's when we solidify the new curriculum so it doesn't just thaw and revert back to the old ways. Well, the purpose of this is to make these new practices the permanent new standard. Our actions include positive reinforcement and rewards for new behaviors because a little recognition goes a long way, right? We all know that, right? So we also embed the new curriculum into official policies and provide ongoing support to make sure it becomes simply the way we do things better or here. So to wrap up, ADKAR is your personalized flashlight for the internal journey of teacher mastery, and Lewin's three steps is your big structural map for the entire implementation. Together, they create a powerful strategy for change, ensuring our curriculum sticks and our students benefit. Finally, well, thanks once again, Dr. Matura and everyone in attendance and listening to me, listening to my voice Throughout this journey, we have presented a comprehensive roadmap moving from the macro lens of systems thinking to the specific practical steps of professional development and addressing anticipated barriers. Our work clearly shows that the implementation of this vital ICT curriculum is not merely about installing new hardware. It's not about that, but about deep, intentional transformation. We have learned that sustainable change is a process, not an event. It demands the collaborative effort and shared ownership of every stakeholder built upon the principles of the ADKAR model. This collaborative vision perfectly aligns with the powerful quote we shared. Technology will not replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers can be transformational, according to George Corus. Are you a great teacher? Will you transform? I don't know. The roadmap is now complete and the journey forward is clear. Let us all embrace this role as architects of digital literacy, transforming our educational landscape to better prepare every student for the future. And we are ready to begin. Thank you for listening.